In this video, I'm going to show you how to search in Primo using subject terms to help you give you a more nuanced or specific kind of search. Subject terms are like labels or tags that librarians have applied to the articles and books in our database in a way to organize them by the content, about what they are about. Usually in Primo, people will do a sort of a general kind of search, which is just fine. And in fact, our default Primo screen allows you to do just such a general search like you would in Google. And usually this search is pretty effective to find the kinds of things you want. But sometimes you want a more targeted search, and that's where using subject terms comes in really handy. And there's a few different ways to do this in Primo. But one of the easiest is to first find the list of subject terms that Primo actually uses so that you're not just guessing what a subject term might be. Towards that end, you will notice in the top of the Primo screen there's a few different options, and one of the middle ones here is Browse Search. If I click on that, that brings up another kind of search screen, and here you'll notice in this yellow box here we are browsing by subject. So I can enter the subject term, or what might be a subject term, and kind of see if that's sort of an official word used to describe some of these resources. For example, let's search for practical theology. Once I've done that search, what Primo is going to do is it's going to bring up an alphabetical list of subject terms that have the word practical or theology in them. And you'll notice what it's done is it's actually listed practical theology here first, but it's telling us that actually if you want to do that, you should do some of these other options. So one is theology, practical case studies. Another is theology, practical. So this is telling us that in Primo, practical theology isn't the subject term, it's theology, practical. Once I click on theology, practical, it's going to bring up a list of all the things in the database that have that listed as an actual subject. Now, that doesn't mean that there aren't other resources in Primo which will fit practical theology. It just means that these are the ones that Primo has identified or that librarians have attached the term practical theology to. And so you notice we get a lot of different options here. Let's just happen to look at this one, number 8, the Abingdon Guide to Funding Ministry. And if I click on that record, you will notice as I scroll down here, it doesn't actually list practical theology in the subject terms here. What Primo has tried to do is it counts as church finance and church management as subject terms underneath practical theology. It's sort of a hierarchy of terms. So it's done us the favor of trying to find those for us. So that's just a brief introduction of how we can do subject terms. Here's another sort of way to find relevant subject terms. Let's say that in a different kind of search, you find another book that is really interesting to you, that kind of fits what you're looking for. I don't know, let's look at record 6 here. And you find a book that's really working, and you say, okay, this fits my topic pretty well. What are the subject terms that are being used to describe it? So this book here might really work with what I'm trying to do. And I say, oh, this is about church management. I want to see what else is in Primo about church management. If I click here on church management, you'll notice it's constructing a search for me where it says subject is exact church management. And now it's listed a whole bunch of items which have church management in their subject term. So this is just a really quick introduction about how you go about finding terms that Primo uses in its subject heading. And again, that was to go to Browse Search and then enter the item you're looking for. And then once you find some items that really are relevant to your research, you should start paying attention to the subject terms used to describe them. And then you could start searching for research and resources using those terms. Okay, thank you very much. I hope this is sort of a brief but helpful introduction about how you can do subject searching in Primo. Thank you.